to log out and log in, you know.
Oh, I literally just logged in. That's why it's like it was sleeping and it's just starting up. So
No, I mean,
it's my first time getting on my...
yeah, I mean, log out from the webinar and join again. You can try that if you want.
Oh, it's okay now. It's just a network. It was just a network slowdown because my computer was still starting up. Everything's fine.
Okay. Yeah, let me message Athena. I spoke with her 10 minutes ago. Let me see if she's joining or she's gonna join later on.
Oh, like Yulia's frozen now, and so is Chelsea.
Horrible. Horrible.
I don't know what's going on.
I would usually blame the German internet, but today, it works fine. So.
And oh, this is very strange. How's my internet connection? Do you guys see me okay? Is everything good?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good. Yeah, for some reason, some things are frozen, but anyway, let me get my presentation brought up. I see we have some attendees here already.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't tell you on purpose, so they can see that we're real. Once you join, we have people inside. So there is no like waiting room, there is no stage. I put the makeup. I've been with makeup all day. So
you've been wearing makeup all day, Nick? I didn't know that that was a...
Yeah, man, it's trending right now. You know, everybody's wearing makeup. See, I need to shine, shine like a diamond. I think it was at the sun. So
shine bright like a diamond.
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't heard the song in like ages. Now it's gonna get stuck in my head.
Okay. So Athena is joining in like 30 minutes now. So let me go live on YouTube.
We're already live there.
I know. I just need to post on LinkedIn now. Nobody knows that we're live until. Okay. Let me go to.
Chelsea, where are you located?
I am in Austin, Texas.
Okay, so it's warm for you, obviously. You're wearing like a, oh, I'm so jealous.
It's been rainy, but it's like a warm rain. It's in the 70s right now.
I have no idea what 70s are.
Oh, yeah, I have no idea how to translate that to.
Yeah, it's 20 degrees Celsius, 20 degrees.
That's why we need men, so they can transfer it from Fahrenheit to Celsius and from miles to meters and kilometers. Because even though I think it's 1.3, but every time Sebastian says something in miles, he directly tells me in kilometers.
Yeah, pounds it's harder, you know. But anyways,
my webinar just like closed out and opened back up.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, Zoom.
We can see you, we can hear you. You look fine, so I don't know. It's weird.
Exactly.
Yes. Yes, Zoom
I think it's I think it's my network, honestly. Because like I'm bringing up Canva for my slides and it's not even loading. So I think something's going on with my network.
Yeah, by the way, no, whenever I have a webinar, I close almost all of my stuff. I just leave like 1 or 2 tabs, you know, just so I have all the bandwidth. Okay, so I'm ready. We're live on YouTube. I just posted that. So so let me share my slide and we'll start. Okay, so we have more people here. So let me find my slide. Okay. Yeah, I know. I think we don't have music on Zoom. It would be good to have some music. I've always thought about that. But anyways, I'm not good at singing. By the way, I know actually a German commercial about English lesson. You know, do you want me to tell you that, Yulia, before we start? You know, English classes for Germans. You know, we had a commercial for that. Yeah, that's funny. You know, a German guy calls guard. And he gets a message from a boat. Hello,
Okay.
Mayday, we're sinking.
Okay, yeah.
And the German Coast Guard guy, hello, what are you thinking about?
Yeah.
And then the commercial, English classes in a row. Okay, guys, so that was the joke. It's the first time I said any jokes in my webinars, but that's not important. Let's talk about today's webinar. This is the second webinar of our Amazon All-Star Series, Superwomen of Amazon. They're here to help you grow in 2023. I've known them for some time. They're managing huge audiences. They have great solutions, and that's why we have them here, because they're great speakers. And I'm just a lucky guy who is the host of the event. I'm Nick Penev. I'm the co-founder of Extreme Power Brands and the party manager at HelloTax. And today with us are going to be the following speakers. Yulia Blinova, co-founder of Zignify Global Product Sourcing. They're the wizards of sourcing. I know it. This is what I've been told by a lot of our socials. They're going to tell you what they do, how they do it. Then we have Athena Severi, co-founder of Titan Network, or also the queen of the Titan Network. She's going to join in 30 minutes, and she's going to talk more about what they do. Chelsea Cohen, we've known her for a long time. She was one of my first speakers 2 years ago. She's the co-founder of SoulStock, and she is one of the inventory wizards, or I should say probably the best inventory software in the Amazon industry. And then we have Amy Weiss, CEO of Amazing at Home. She's a very reliable partner of mine. She's a big influencer in the space, and I'm gonna let them introduce later on themselves. And unfortunately, Shelly Simon, she's not able to join because she had a family tragedy, and we're very sorry about that. But you're gonna see Shelly in one of the next editions. So before we proceed, I'm gonna give some shout out to our sponsor today. The gold sponsor is just not one company; it's my Expansion to Europe Partner Squad. We provide all-in-one Expansion to Europe solution where we cover with the VAT, accounting, automation, product compliance, logistics, customs, translations, funding, and a lot of more stuff. But the simple solution is, if you want to expand to Europe, we're going to make your life easy. Just don't forget to send us a selfie from your React in the Mediterranean once you sell your business in a few years. But we're going to talk more about that in minutes. We're giving away $2,000 minimum for anybody who would like to expand. And here are some of the partners today. Then, the silver sponsor is Extreme Power Brands. That's my partnership as a service agency. We have a network of 1,000 partners. And what we do, we help companies, or to be more exact, e-commerce service providers to grow for partnerships in the space. And we're giving away always, when we do webinars, one partnership audit for free. You need to be an e-commerce service provider to qualify for that. We're going to tell you if you suck, if you're great, and you're not going to pay anything for that. And the last partner is Dobias. They're a partner of mine. They're an award-winning creative service company for Amazon sellers. They design product infographics, EBC images, and videos. They're giving away free, complete sets of EBC images for free. I have no idea what is that, but you can claim that, and the cost for that is $600. And we have a lot of more giveaways. You need to wait till the end. If you need to log out and leave, don't worry, we're recording the event. We're streaming live on YouTube, so you'll be able to watch it tomorrow. We're going to send out that to everybody, so don't worry about that. And you're going to see all the other giveaways from the speakers as well. So here is the agenda today. The topic will start, the webinar is going to start with Yulia. She's going to talk about how you can save millions when sourcing your products. I've been an e-commerce seller myself for 10 years, and I know for a fact that you can save a lot of money, or you can lose a lot of money with using if you're not using the correct support. Then Amy is going to tell you her secret formula, what the heck, that's not the exact title. I apologize, guys. I thought that I updated that, but I didn't, so just bear with me, and I'm going to give you the exact topic for Amy. Just give me a second. So Amy is going to talk about harnessing AI to skyrocket your Amazon sales. So sorry about that, guys. I just forgot to click save when I was updating the presentation. So then we're going to have Athena talk about how to create raving fans for your brand on Amazon, and how to leverage the power of AI-driven engaged content. And after it, she's going to talk about how you can protect your business against profit killers, because no matter what everybody's telling you, profit is what you take home. Profit is how you're valued when you sell your business, and profit is what your wife cares about, or your husband, or your partner, or whatever. So you need profit. And at the end, I'm going to talk about expansion to Europe, why Europe is not only a good vacation spot, but you can make a lot of money, because 98% of the US Amazon sellers are not doing that. And of course, we're going to have the Q&A session at the end. If you have any questions, type them in the chat, and we're going to answer them later on. We have already like 15 questions from people who cannot attend, but they've sent them already. So thank you, everybody, for joining the event. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to have Yulia tell you about sourcing, and I'm going to let her introduce herself and her, I'm not sure, is he her husband or a boyfriend, Sebastian? I know that your guys
husband,
are like...
A husband.
Okay.
So we've been together for like 10 or 11 years. So whether married or not, husband, you can't run away from that.
Yeah, so you have the best partnership. I have the same partnership, the only exclusive partnership I have. Everybody needs to share me. So thanks, Yulia. So tell us more
how
about
much time do I have? 2 hours, 3 hours, or 20 minutes?
Yeah, you have 10 minutes or 100 minutes, no?
All right, I'll look again. I can talk for hours. That's absolutely not a problem. But what I'm going to try to do, and this is what I always try to do, is to deliver value overload, customer value overload. So to share as much useful data as possible. I have a long presentation. I'm not going to go through all of it, but I'm just going to go through a few points that might be interesting to the people. It doesn't matter whether you are starting out or you're already doing business, whether you're selling on Amazon or you have your own Shopify store or you're selling in retail. This all entails sourcing. And if you're doing sourcing the wrong way, you can be losing a lot of money in the process. So let me quickly share my tiny little presentation for hundreds of pages, which I'm not going to cover all for sure, yet again. So just to tell you a little bit about what we've done as humans, as a company. I've been in sourcing for the last 18 years. I actually come from the border with China. I come originally from Russia, so it's Russia, river, China, 300 meters, and I would go over the river, I go to China. First time I came to China was in 1993. I moved there in 2005. I spent there almost 10 years, then Singapore, then Europe. So I lived in China for a very long time, and this is where the sourcing started. To show you what we've done over the years, sourced over 3,000 products, saved a lot of money, and all of our actually employees are female. So we're a team of almost 50, and it's only women except my poor husband. International Women's Day is not a good day for him. But International Men's Day, which we have in Germany, is. We have a lot of customers, a lot of people trust us. I give you a wonderful example. One of our customers is actually Amazon. So we do product sourcing for Amazon, not for all of their products, but for a lot of them. One of the things that we like to talk about in general with people when they come to us just to consult, even without using our services, is how to actually make money when you're purchasing the products and not only selling the products. Ladies, later on throughout the day, they will be actually talking about how to save money with the inventory, with the good systems and all of those things. But we need to remember that initially, your initial investment, if you're purchasing a bad product, if you're paying a bad price for that product, if you're having the wrong import tax, wrong shipping costs, and all of those things, you already are having a bad start, and your margins might be eaten up by all of those things where you don't really know the processes. So this is why we say how real money is actually made in purchasing, because you can increase your margins from 5 to 50%, depending on your product, depending on your skills, and your wits as well. So again, how to save 500K in 3 hours of work. I'll quickly share that information. For those of you who have been selling on Amazon already and been for a while around this particular topic of Amazon, would know the jokes around the garlic press, right? Because when garlic press came up, it came up as a kind of a sample purchase product which a person started selling ages ago, I think 2013 or something like this. And then it became kind of a running joke within the Amazon community. Me and my husband, myself, we are sellers on Amazon as well since 2014. I'm giving you this example of a garlic press. This is not the actual product that we did for one of our customers, but I can show you examples of how costs can be optimized. It doesn't matter if you're making $10,000 per month, 100, a million, or 10 million. You can still have additional margins that you can potentially take, reinvest into marketing, reinvest into purchasing product, into optimization. So this product, let's say it was a garlic press. The customer had a landed cost of $5. For those who don't know what the landed cost is, we're taking the product price, we're taking the shipping costs, the VATs, the import taxes, so everything that you need in order to get kind of the product on the ground in the country where you're going to sell it. Some people also add 3PL costs if you're not using Amazon, but I usually don't. So landed cost includes all of this. So our customer had a price or a purchasing cost, a landed cost of $5. What we did is we started looking at some other countries other than China and seeing if there are potential for a hybrid supply chain. Hybrid supply chain is something that everyone starts to talk about due to some instabilities in the, in the policies, in the politics across the globe. There are problems between China and US, there are problems between Russia and everyone else, etc., etc. So it's just smart to have a hybrid supply chain. So a lot of people, like this particular customer, they started off buying in China. Currently, they're buying in China and they're also buying in Mexico. So let's say the garlic press, right? So what is good to do is always try to find other manufacturers in other countries and preferably in other regions. Why? Because your supply chain in this case will be a lot safer. And if something goes belly up, another corona happens, another war happens, God forbid, or something like this, you will have some factories closed in one country, but hopefully you will still have your supply coming in from another country. It is also extremely important, and I think that there are a lot of ladies who are more qualified than me to talk about this, on how you price your products as well. So, for example, our customer sells this garlic press on his own website for $38. Now they also sell it on Amazon for $38, when all of the competitors sell it for $10 or $12, the same exact product. Why? Because they're able to say it's made in Mexico, they have better photos, better descriptions, etc., etc., etc. So also extremely important point. So with this particular customer, he made additional $500,000 in revenue last year. Why? Because he saved $1 and his purchases of this particular products were 500,000 pieces. So $500,000 he saved. And the work that was integrated into this initial was about 3 hours or something like this. So look at the options that are available. A lot of people are looking and saying, oh, China, I only know China, so I only will go to China. There's nothing else out there. This is not the way to go. One of the important things when you're going abroad is to make sure that the country is not only able to produce your product, but to also look at the political situation in the said country, right? So Turkey, for example, has its pros and its cons. It's good to go there because of lira devaluation against the dollar, but it's not so good because they will have increases in the salaries in labor, right? So the cost kind of, you don't know, does this even out? Is it worse going there? And also, it's extremely important to look at the political situation in general. If someone were to ask me right now, is it worth going to Turkey? So should I still go there? I would say in the next year, it's still an awesome opportunity. But after that, it will become harder and harder because a lot of people are fleeing from China to Turkey. So, of course, they're increasing the prices. So this is extremely important. Look at the political situation, look at the inflation, look at the investments that come from the government towards the manufacturing and other sectors. It will literally take you 5 minutes of Googling and you will understand, is it worth going to this country or not? One of the things that I would like to share directly are some tips or some hacks. So these are the hacks that are very useful for anyone who pretty much starts the sourcing or is already sourcing the products out there. One of the biggest problems we face is the amount of manufacturers people are contacting. It is never enough. I really don't understand why people contact 3 or 4 or 5 manufacturers. Is it because they're afraid? Is it because they're lazy? Is it because they think it's enough? I don't know, but the point being is you should not contact 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 manufacturers. It should be a lot more, and preferably in different countries. How to identify those countries where you can source your product? Again, first thought for everyone is let's go to China and let's source the product there. If you don't want to, for example, you're a seller who sells, let's say in the United States of America, and you would like to manufacture some wooden products that do not come from China. The easy question would be, what options do you have in terms of manufacturing wooden products that don't come from China? If you don't want to hire a sourcing company, sourcing agents, and anything like this, use Google. Literally. For things like this, you can write one of the things, like you can type in top manufacturers of wooden products in the world. It's as easy as that. Top exporters of wood in the world. Countries like Russia, of course, are going to pop up. You got Russia, you got India, you got Brazil, you got Canada. You have quite a few countries where you can go and manufacture wooden products. Right? So you identify the country. For example, let's say you decided to go with Canada for whatever reason, because it's so close, etc., etc. What are the next steps? The next steps would be actually to try and find the manufacturers. How do you find manufacturers in China? You use Alibaba, you use 1688, you use, I don't know, Baidu, which is their search engine, so like Google, right? What else do you do? Maybe you have your contact, some references or something like this. But what do you do when you actually have to do the sourcing outside of China? How do you find manufacturers? This is the biggest problem that most of the people are facing. You identify the country. Again, one of the first things you actually need to do is Google. Google, you need to go to YouTube, you need to go to Instagram, Facebook, any other social media. Why? Because when manufacturers are attending different types of trade shows, they always make posts, right? Oh, here, I'm at this trade show, come visit my booth, etc. But things like this. So this is extremely helpful. And you can find manufacturers who you might not even find on Google. Secondly, try to see if this particular country has any trade shows. I give an example of a trade show in Mexico. We have Evo Latam that Amy is related to as being one of the organizers. So you can go to a trade show you can find a trade show in that particular country and actually visit the trade show. If it is not coming up anytime soon, what you can do is you can go online and see the list of exhibitors for the previous year, right? So let's say the trade show took place in November 22 in Canada about wood manufacturers, suppliers, and all of those guys. So you go, you find the trade show, you can literally type in trade shows, exhibits, probably in French as well, because this is Canada, wooden products, things like this. The websites will pop up, you go in there and you see who were on the list, who were the exhibitors, because the exhibitor list is usually always there. And not usually only the exhibitor list, but even contact information for those exhibitors. So this is one of the great ways to actually find manufacturers in other countries. You want toys, you can go to Germany. You want textiles, there are tons of trade shows that you can visit online in Indonesia, in India, Bangladesh, Vietnam. So this is an extremely wonderful way. So let's say we found our manufacturer, or we found a few. Our suggestion is to get in touch with about 30 to 60 different potential manufacturers, so you can have a very good widespread quotation variety, because you can have some guys, let's say at $5, others will be at 20, right? So you need to see what is the realistic price on the market. Why is it so? What is the difference? Is it the material? Is it the way the product is produced? So you will need to talk to the manufacturer in extremely close way to find out all of those things. If you have an existing database, of course, contact the manufacturers from there, but do not stop there. I don't care how good your existing supplier is, you always need to shop around. Always, especially when it comes to manufacturing, because you need to make sure you have a backup. He can be perfect, best prices, best product, all certifications. He even gives you credit terms, right? So you pay like 60 days after the goods arrive that you already sold them. But what if something happens to them and your oxygen supply is basically cut off? So please always try to have a backup. Not only find them and get prices, but order samples and maybe even order a small mass production batch. Use social media to your advantage. This is in regards to searching for manufacturers, but this is also in regards to your negotiation skills and to negotiating the prices with your suppliers. This is specifically for outside of China. For depending on which languages you speak and if you can use Google Translate. What we usually do is we, I don't want to say stalk, like stalking people. I really don't want to say that, but we research people. They're not your opponents, right? So you made contact with the manufacturer. They started give you initial pricing. It looks like everything is going the way it's supposed to go, but you always need to have something, a bonus, right? That will get you even higher on the top of that mountain and get you a better deal. What we do is we usually try to research the person we're communicating with, let's call them an account manager, on social media. We try to research the person and their personal life. Why? Because we want to connect on that private, on that personal level, because we are humans. If we're talking to someone who is into, so if you talk to me about riding motorcycles, you're my kind of person because I ride motorcycles, or going hiking, or going on trips, or reading a book, right? You can grab my attention a lot better, and you can hold that attention for a longer time and make you like me, and the other way around, and try to get a better deal out for yourself. So research your opponent, research the factories that you're talking to, who is their boss, who are they, what do they like to do, and make a personal connection, and try to be really genuine, because you're communicating with the person. I'm not saying be friends, but be good acquaintances and maybe have that real connection, because we as humans are more likely to give and do a favor for someone who we know rather than not. Next one. Again, this is for anything outside of China. In China, easy, Alibaba, one call, you can have the prices. And then a few days later, you realize they gave the wrong price for the wrong product, and the price is wrong, and they can't produce, and they don't have certification. But that aside, if you're doing sourcing, if you're trying to find manufacturers outside of China, the normal chain on events is 3 emails and 4 phone calls to get the final prices for the products that you actually want. So if you're trying to actually get in touch with someone and you sent 1 email and you didn't receive a response within 2 weeks, please don't cry wolf. It's just not, you need to do more work. That is unfortunate. A lot of people who are trying to find manufacturers, and especially big sellers, they feel like, oh, I'm making millions. This person should be rolling out a red carpet in front of me, and they are not even answering my calls, right? Right now, the demand for manufacturing products is a lot higher than the supply that is on the market for a lot of products in a lot of countries. So you need to be patient. And again, you need to be human and make that connection. Don't be high up, don't show yourself as a higher up or anything like this. Again, we're all human. So normally 3 emails and 4 phone calls, that is the average for US, for Europe, especially for developed countries. They tend to be less hungry in comparison to Asian countries who want to make a lot of money fast and buy all the Louis Vuitton and Gucci and Versace bags and belts. One of the things to note is not to contact aimlessly. Make sure you have as many details for your products and for what you actually want before contacting the potential manufacturers. It doesn't matter where they're located. Put yourself in the position of the actual manufacturers. Someone comes to you and says, I want to buy a glass. Maybe it will be made out of plastic or glass, and it might be black or purple, and it might be looking like a wine glass or an IKEA glass or so. When someone comes to you with such a request, you're like, nope, this is way too much trouble. The person doesn't know what he or she wants. This is going to be a waste of time because I'm going to spend so much time talking to them. They're going to order 5 samples and then they're not going to order anything at all. So understanding this, when you're going to manufacturers, try to have as much data as possible. I understand that sometimes it's hard to collect this data, especially when you're creating your own product, but Google around, look around, get inspiration. It doesn't mean that you're committing to those things that you will be initially given to the manufacturers, but the more shape of the product you have, the easier it will be for them to be in touch with you, to communicate with you, and to actually they will be willing to provide you prices. Because if you contact aimlessly and you don't have details, they won't communicate with you. We had situations like this where people who had businesses and they made about $60 million per year, and they hired some sourcing people, and this is what they were doing. I don't know what I want, but I want this. And the manufacturers didn't care how much money they were making because they were afraid they're going to waste time. Make use of freelancers. I'm not a freelancer anymore, not for many years. I used to be a digital nomad in Southeast Asia. But make use of freelancers. There or different services. There is such things as Upwork or Fiverr, and you can find people to help you, for example, translate. We know if you go to do sourcing in Mexico, you kind of need to speak Spanish. And the same goes for Poland or for France. If you come there and you start speaking English, they can, but they will not. This is I'm a proud Polish person. I'm a proud French person. At least this is what we've noticed with the factories. You can easily hire a freelancer who can be a translator for you for half an hour to have a face-to-face discussion and a meeting with the factory. Because those meetings, even through Zoom, in China it's called guanxi, right? When you're making the connections, when you're becoming acquaintances, kind of close buddies, you need to
Yulia, sorry that I'm interrupting you. We're gonna have to do something that I've never done in my webinars. We're gonna switch speakers because Amy has a hard stop. So we're exactly at the halftime, guys. Make use of freelancers. Yulia is gonna continue then, but we're gonna have Amy because she has been searching for internet in Texas. She find one at the neighbors, and we need to take advantage of that until the internet is around. So Amy, introduce yourselves, tell us more about your neighbor and how is the internet connections, and tell us more about your topic today. And then we're going to continue with the sourcing.
Well, it's hard to follow Yulia. She's amazing. It's really awesome to learn from her. I've got just a quick presentation for you guys today. I came home and my internet was dead. So this whole time I've been running around in the background, literally trying to find internet. So my amazing neighbor said, come on over. And so I've been setting up in the background. But I have a live stream right after this. So thank you guys so much for giving me the opportunity. I will try to keep it quick. And I'll share my screen here and we'll get going. Only one screen to share. I'm not used to that. Okay. All right. So let me hit the present button. Okay. And let me just minimize Zoom here. And let's go. So I'm going to talk about supercharging your brand and how to harness AI to skyrocket your Amazon sales today. I'm excited to teach you guys some things about that. Let's get into it. I'm a 7-figure seller. I'm an inventor and a multiple patent holder. I'm a product development and sourcing expert. You know, as Yulia mentioned, I co-founded Evo Latam, the only multi-category trade show in Latin America. I'm also the co-host of the Seller Roundtable podcast, and I own a marketing and consulting firm called Amazing at Home. I love marketing. I'm a nerd about it. If I had to go back to school, I would I would do marketing all over again, right? Luckily, now I get to teach marketing at a lot of local business organizations, and I just wrote a book, E-commerce Marketing 101. I have a military background. I spent 18 years in the U.S. Air Force, and I've helped thousands of brands launch their products on Amazon and beyond, and other retail channels. So enough about me. Let's talk about you guys and what we can do with your brands. Let's move. All right. So I'm going to talk about today how you can use AI for product research and development, for advertising and PPC, for your product images and your graphics, and for growing your brand off of Amazon. And I'm going to do all that in 10 minutes. So here we go. So AI, I know a lot, there's been a lot of like e-commerce webinars and stuff about AI. And, you know, it's all about like, use ChatGPT to write your Amazon listing, do, you know, that kind of stuff. And that's great. But AI is so much more capable than that, right? It's great for content. I use it every single day for that. But you can actually use it to visually represent products. And you can use it for product development, product research. It is absolutely mind-blowing what you can do with it. You can see these pictures on the far right. This is from one of my favorite articles from a guy named Viral Spinu, who wrote about actually using ChatGPT to come up with logos and brand development and storefronts. And this was packaging that came out of ChatGPT's description for a packaging for a really cool, like modern dairy brand. Can you imagine selling milk in these kind of packaging, right? So this is the kind of stuff that you can do. And I've used it for clients to create packaging that, you know, I had one client selling chocolates and he was wanting to sell like 1 or 2 chocolates in a box. And the box that he had was just kind of like plain with gold lettering. And I asked ChatGPT to redescribe that box. I talked about his brand, everything. I gave it context. I asked ChatGPT to redescribe that box and make it look like a luxury Tiffany box. Something that you would get, that you would just get so excited when you saw the box, and that would just pop off the page on Amazon. And what came out in Midjourney was absolutely incredible. Like just this brown and bright turquoise blues and gold embossing, and just incredible. I would be so excited to get a box like that and find chocolates inside. So there's so much that you can do with it, and you don't want to sit on it, guys, because it really, this is your competition is taking advantage of it. And, you know, you're going to start seeing content and images and even products that are developed that are absolutely mind blowing. So, you know, we need to not sleep on this. We need to learn how to use these tools so that we can do this for our brands and keep up with our competition and what's coming. So what can you do? You can visually represent your wildest dreams. This gold and black box over here was actually a client that I have that sells really high-end foods. He imports really high-end foods, but he was just kind of delivering them in a regular box. And I said, nope, we gotta change that up. So we redesigned the packaging to make it look like really luxury, high end. We redesigned the garlic press. In our mastermind group, we came together and we put in a normal garlic pressed listing into ChatGPT, and we asked ChatGPT to completely reimagine the garlic press and how it would work, including website mockups, everything. We did it all in a matter of an hour. So these are things that used to take years, and now you can do in a very short period of time. This third one over here to the right is actually a product that I've been working on for years. I'm in the pet space, and I was working on a solution for dog poop cleanup. Okay, and this is actually a robotic dog poop picker-upper that I designed in a few hours. Something that I've been working on for years, I designed in a few hours, including the visual mock-ups, all of the internal representations of that product, everything, so that I could hand it over to a product designer. And the patent claims, I wrote those utilizing ChatGPT, and then all of these mockups and everything, I used AI imagery tools. So there's so much you can do with this, guys. I'm going to talk a little bit about how you even get started with that. Obviously, I can't get deep in depth today of step by step, but I can show you kind of how you get started. So basically, the two tools that are really easy to use for all of this that I'm talking about today are ChatGPT and Midjourney. ChatGPT is a language model. What it means by a language model is it actually learns by reading and listening, and it can make recommendations, it can understand. So you can talk to it just like a normal person, but it's an expert. It's read everything on the internet up until September 2021. So you can really just have conversations, and it can help you develop innovative products. I actually developed a product this morning with ChatGPT. I had an idea in my head that was related to a pain point, and I came up with a new board game idea this morning. So it was really, really cool just having this conversation with my friend ChatGPT. You can sign up for ChatGPT Plus. It is free to use. And you just go to chat.openai.com, and you can sign up for ChatGPT Plus, which gives you access to the latest models, and that's $20 a month. So you can check that out. And then Midjourney, it used to be free, but now it is a minimum of $8 to generate images, and that works inside of Discord. So Discord is a chat bot, right? So you go inside, or chat server, excuse me, you go inside of Discord and you can communicate with Midjourney. If you just go to the Midjourney website, midjourney.com, it walks you through how to do that step by step. It has really great helpful documents, everything. So let's talk about prompting. So prompting is how you talk to AI. And it's very, very important to learn how to talk to this, this intelligent being, this artificial intelligence, because it's going to give you a better result. I was mentoring at Geekdom this weekend, which is a local San Antonio organization helping entrepreneurs. I was mentoring new entrepreneurs coming up with new business ideas. And someone else said, oh, I can come up with this pitch. I'll use ChatGPT to come up with the pitch. And it asked ChatGPT for a pitch, but didn't provide much context. And what came out was actually a very kind of basic pitch. And so I was like, let me try it. And I talked to ChatGPT. I said, okay, I'm this business. I'm this person. I'm trying to start this business called this. What we're doing in this business is X, Y, and Z. The target audience we're trying to attract is X, Y, and Z. What we're trying to do is come up with a pitch that, you know, most Americans don't know about this product because it's in Europe, it's based in Europe. So how can we get them excited about it? Can you help me write a pitch that will help Americans get excited about this thing that they don't know about in Europe and participating in this experience in America? And it came out with this whole huge, like, just amazing thing. And compared to the initial prompt that the other person gave, it was night and day. So it's important. Don't say, give me product ideas. Instead, say, I'm starting a business. We sell X type of products to X type of customer on X platform. We want to do X. And then finally, ask the right experts. inside of artificial intelligence, you can give it a persona. So you can say, I want to talk to a product developer. I want to talk to you as a marketing expert. You can even ask it to act as a wellness expert. There's so many cool things that you can do with it. But remember, and if you're not sure if you can do that, just ask it. Say, hey, can you act as a marketing expert? Can you act as a wellness coach? Can you, and help me with this? Or how would you do this? Or how would I use ChatGPT for this? And it will tell you. It's really, really incredible. All right. So let's talk about Midjourney prompts. So this is inside of that Discord. Midjourney is that AI image tool. And when you're using Midjourney, you can see these pictures here. I tried to use an existing image, and I said, put this product inside of put the object in this image inside of a laundry room. And look what it spit out. That was a hot mess. So one thing to note is that Midjourney is not good at taking existing images and changing them. But what you can do is you can put an image into it and ask it to describe it, and then use that prompt to make a new image, or you can create a new image on your own. So I'm going to give you some tips on that. But the order matters. So if you say put a litter box in the laundry room, it's going to take you literally. And then you can use ChatGPT for help, and then use Explore for inspiration. So what I do is once I go on midjourney.com and I click on Explore, and everybody's photos are there. And when you click on one of the photos, it'll show the prompt that they used to create that photo. And I'll just copy that prompt out and I'll change it to what I want to use. Like the other day I saw a beautiful picture of limes, like a bunch of different limes. And I was like, ooh, I wonder if I could do that with roses. So I just grabbed that prompt and I changed it from limes to roses. And it worked really, really great. So that's another great way to kind of learn different prompts and all of that. All right, moving on.
I have a Google sheet with Amazon pay-per-click advertising data.
Oh.
How can I get you to?
So I don't know if you guys can hear that. Basically, PPC. If you want to use ChatGPT to optimize your PPC campaigns. So my friend Barkus was asking this in our Amazon Mastermind chat group the other day. And he was like, man, I'm trying to feed my advertising data into ChatGPT and it's kind of a mess. So I explained you could actually use the developer mode. You can use the API inside of Google Sheets, and it's really, really easy. Even if you're not a super techie person, ChatGPT will actually give you the exact step-by-steps and what to copy and paste into Google Sheets, into that API. It'll tell you where to get the plugin that you need to put into Google Sheets. It gives you the web link, all of that. So that's a really great way to do that. All I said is, hello, I need your help. I'm an Amazon seller. I have a Google Sheet with my exported Amazon pay-per-click advertising data. This includes keywords, bids, ACOS, and a bunch of other data. What's the easiest way for ChatGPT to analyze this Google Sheet and recommend what keywords I should change on my bids, or new keywords I should add to my campaigns, or even new campaigns to create? And I asked that, and you can see you'll need to share your Google Sheet and grant me access to it. You can do this by using Google Sheets API and Python and then running a script. So it literally tells you what to do step by step. You can see it like literally wrote out step by step what to do. So even if you're not a programmer, you don't know what to do, you literally can copy and paste and follow it step by step. And if something doesn't work, you can go back to that chat and say, okay, that didn't work. It gave me this result, and it will help you make the tweaks. Okay, so you can use it for anything. And if you're not sure, ask it. So this morning when I was developing that product, I said, okay, what if I wanted to make this an app instead of a physical product? And it walked me through step by step how I could build an app with no development experience and publish it on the App Store. So again, if you're not sure, just ask. This is incredible technology and it can help you along the way. All right, in your image generation, remember how I said, like, it's not great to take an existing image and import it in and try to change it, but it is great for backgrounds. So for your A+ content and stuff like that, you can actually, look up under Explore. This is Explore. I searched for modern kitchen and look at all the great images that I found. So I can just use that prompt, create my own image, and you can actually give it dimensions. so that you're able to, use it for your A+ content. You can give it specific pixel sizes or dimensions, aspect ratios. So if you need a modern kitchen picture that is this wide or this many pixels based on your A+ content, you can actually just do that in Midjourney. So that's really great. And then once you get that image, how do you edit it to put your product inside, right? You can actually use a free, if you don't have Photoshop, you can use a free image editor like Photopea. So this is a logo that I created using Midjourney, and I brought it into Photopea, and now I can actually change out and use all of these free tools to create the logo and change all the colors and the pictures and work with layers. You can also play around in Canva. I often will import things into Canva and add additional images, remove backgrounds. And then you could add your product or your logo to the image. So that's a really great way to utilize these tools. Even though they're not great for your product yet, you can use it for backgrounds. And that's really, really awesome. Another thing that you can use is a tool called neural.love. This tool actually uncrops an image. So let's say you have this image of, pancakes. You can load it into neural.love and it will uncrop it. It'll fill in the sides. So if you have an image on, let's say your photographer did your 7 images for your listing, you can now use this tool to use that same image and fill in the sides for your A+ content. It's very inexpensive. It's like $10 or something to uncrop a bunch of images. So that's really great. And then in Midjourney, as I mentioned, you can give it aspect ratios so that you get those great backgrounds. All right. And then growing your brand off of Amazon. This is the last part of my talk. I'm going to wrap it up here. If you want to create content, for years, I was like, wow, I would really love to do, I have a cat brand. I would really love to do funny cat quotes, like, silly things that a cat would say to a human, because cats are like, I don't know, if you're a cat person, you know how cats are. But anyway, so I asked ChatGPT to come up with some funny quotes, and like that a cat would say to a human, and it did. It came up with all these quotes, and then I asked it to come up with actual posts for those quotes and image recommendations, as well as hashtags and emojis that I could use. And literally within an hour, I had like 4 months of content. All the quotes that I needed, all the posts, all the hashtags, all the emojis, everything. And then I just passed that off to my team, and they went ahead and created the content calendar and got it done. So content for my brand, so easy. Another free tool that you can use is autosheets.ai. You can go to this website, autosheets.ai, and this really cool guy, he's actually speaking at my AI Business Summit, called Michael Hanley. He developed all these free sheets that you can use that create blogs for you. They utilize ChatGPT, but they create content for you on autopilot. So if you don't want to take all the time to kind of learn how to have that conversation with ChatGPT, you can use these free tools as well. All right. And last but not least, I am hosting an AI Business Summit from March 24th, or sorry, not March, May 24th to 25th. And that's going to be online, and you guys can use code AmazingAI to save $50 on your ticket, so you can get into that summit. It's a virtual summit, so you guys can watch it. But you can use AmazingAI to save $50 off your ticket at amazingathome.com/AI. Come and check it out. It's 2 days. We're going to have 16 speakers. Going to be really, really awesome, and you can hang out with us for 2 days and learn all these things in depth and more. And if you want these slides, here is the QR code for these slides. You can just scan that, and there's my web address. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Amy. And since you said it's March, if you guys cannot time travel, go and ask ChatGPT. They're gonna tell you that you missed the event. If not, I guess it's not March. So thank you, Amy. Thank your neighbor. Have fun, and I think you had a master class. So tell everybody that you saved your speaking spot, and we're gonna have you again sometime. So AI is hot, but don't forget that you're gonna get dumber if you only use AI. So use the space between your ears and listen to this amazing ladies today. So it was amazing, Amy from Amazing Kids Home. So thanks again, Amy, and
All
it
right.
was nice to have you as a speaker.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. So guys, now we had a great AI. It was not a commercial break, it was like an educational break. And now Yulia is gonna finish you guys with the sourcing, because obviously AI is good, but sourcing is very important. You wouldn't need AI if you don't handle your sourcing well. So Yulia, you can continue after the AI break.
Yeah. Okay. I will finish here. All right. So make use of freelancers. I did that. Contact data. What does that mean? That means make sure that you have contact data for the company, and not only for the person you're communicating with, but for other people within the company as well. This especially is important when you're trying to do sourcing in Asia. The turnover of the staff in Vietnam, China, Indonesia, Malaysia, India, Bangladesh is quite substantial. So when the person leaves, you got no contact data, everything you've been working for is lost. So make sure you also have a contact data for someone else in the company. Confirm, talk to that person, say, hey, just in case. Prepared, things will go wrong. Anyone who did sourcing before, absolutely. We have so many situations where a person started and everything was perfect, and then 2 weeks later they come crying, oh my God, everything went wrong. So prepare, everything might go wrong, something definitely will go wrong, but it doesn't mean you should stop. It means you should continue, power through, because those who do, those are the ones who start selling, making money, become independent, etc., etc. When it comes to manufacturers, this is what I mentioned about being on a high horse, red carpet, and all of those things. Don't threaten your manufacturers. When someone threatens you, how do you feel? You want to kick their tushy, and you never, I don't know, you want to take care of those people and to get them the hell out of your life. So the same thing goes for the manufacturers. So please be nice. Again, there is a human on the other side. QC, quality control, quality inspection, QI, samples for mass production, but not only. You can also get samples for, let's call it, for in between the start and the end of the mass production. You can always find someone to send person to the factory, and when they started producing the product, you can ask them to take a look, how is it coming out? Because if they will see some mistakes along the way, you can directly correct them, right? And this is not so expensive. Again, you can find freelancers to do this. The undercover hack is something that I really, really like, and something that we use. That means when you are searching for the factory, and for example, you don't have a large team and you're searching for the manufacturers yourself, or you have your team and they're searching for the manufacturers, they and you never should admit that you're in charge of making the final decisions. You always need to pretend that there is someone above you who needs to make that final decision, that there is always this boss above you. Why? The person on the other side also has a boss, and this person is more likely to try and connect with you if they feel you're in the same situation, in the same position. You can always say, please, oh my God, please help me. I'm so afraid I'm gonna lose my job. I just this tiny negotiation, this 5 cents, this might save my job. Please, can you please help me this time? And I will make sure in the future, I don't know, we place more orders with you, or please help me. Right? So you can, if you have any theatrical blood in your veins or anything like this, test this out, because again, humans respond on such a level. I want to quickly show you. There was a question from a person in the chat was asking, are there any platforms other than Alibaba in other countries? For Germany, you can use wlw.de. For Europe in general, you can use Europages, but again, there are tons of Chinese manufacturers on there. You don't really have anything like this for Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, or other countries. But those manufacturers, a lot of manufacturers from other Southeast Asian countries, they will be on Alibaba. But you need to verify the factories properly, look at their registration, certification, and all of those things. For US, you can use ThomasNet. ThomasNet is good. Other than this, there are not so many. There are some platforms that are trying to be the next Alibaba in Europe, but it's going to be extremely hard on them. What I want to share, and maybe people want to take a screenshot or anything like this, or they can actually, I'll show my email, they can send an email and ask for us to send them the presentation. So here are the products that you can actually source and manufacture in LATAM. in Latin America. So household, wood, textiles, chemicals, art supply, cosmetics, plastics, packaging, tons of things, right? So remember this. What else can you manufacture in LATAM? Furniture, shoes, drinks, cotton, and one of my favorite is alpaca cotton. This is very rare. Wines, beers, agricultural products. So literally tons of things that you can sell on Amazon. Jewelry. What can you produce in, or what can you source in Europe and in America? Again, household, food, supplements, pets, health products, very easy, tons of private label, especially the pets, and in general, supplements are on the rise. Chemicals, textiles, glass, tons of things. So this is Europe and US. Here are some more examples of specific countries across the globe. You got Poland here, Turkey, India, Pakistan. Right? So you guys can take a look and see if there is any of your products go into those categories. Again, these are not the final categories. These are not all of the products that you can do in those countries, but this is a very, very good choice. I have a very limited amount of time, so you can see the presentation is actually quite long, and there's tons of useful data for you there. So if you guys want, you can send us an email to hello@zignify.net, and you can request the presentation. And we promise we're not going to try to sell you anything. If you want to talk to us, we'll consult you. But in general, for presentation, you can come and I'll share the information. We're interested in customer value overload. Why? Because this is something that you should be interested in. Because if you're delivering customer value overload to your customers, you're doing your job, you're having great sales, and hopefully you have amazing margins as well. So I think I will stop on this point. There's, again, tons of information, and we can sit here for hours. But unfortunately, I'm not allowed to speak for hours.
No. Girls like to speak, but you're gonna give so much value that people are not gonna have time to consume that. So we need to deliver that in small portions. So guys, sourcing is important now, and I've been selling for 10 years. And even though we stopped selling one of our top products, it was a quality product, and people still buy it, even though we're not selling that and they're asking for that. So you listen to Yulia. Find quality support. Exactly. But now we're gonna move to our next speaker, Athena Severi, co-founder of the Titan Network, and she's gonna introduce herself because I assume many of you know her already. If not, you're gonna see her and meet her right now. And to be honest, this is the first time I meet Athena. I know Dan, Wyden, and a lot of people from the Titan Network, but this is the first time we chat officially and see each other. So thanks for accepting to speak, Athena. I'm a huge Greek mythology fan, so I like your name. I like the name of the Titan Network, but let me see what you guys have more for our audience.
Great. Well, thank you so much for having me, Nick. I'm excited to get started. I'm going to need to share my slides. If you can give me the...
You have access, so you should be able to
I have it. Okay, perfect. Okay, wonderful. So let's get started here. And can you see my slides yet? Here it is. Share screen, desktop.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I see it right now.
Okay, perfect. All right. So we're going to get started from the top. And believe it or not, what we're going to talk about today is about creating raving fans on your brand of Amazon using AI-driven engaging content. So AI is a very hot topic, and in the Titan Network, we have about 40 different leaders who, what they do is they're experts in their fields, as well as themselves being multi-million-dollar Amazon sellers. So I actually am taking a little piece of a very dear friend of mine, Chris's presentation. I'm going to be showing it to you today. So my name is Athena Severi. I am the queen of Titan Network. We're the largest mastermind for Amazon sellers in the world. And I am going to explain to you the power of understanding who you're selling to and how that really is the nucleus, the start, the genesis of everything else that you do. Because if you don't fully understand who you're selling to, you're really not going to be able to talk to your target audience, create the raving fans, and create those brands that have real enterprise value. So who am I? I quit my job, my 6-figure job selling headbands. Actually, that was my first product. And the reason I'm so passionate about supporting women in our space is that I am a mother. And one of the big whys that I had for creating my brand was to be able to spend more time with my children and to be able to do things that I never even dreamed were possible. So these are my little guys when they were very young, and it's just been an honor for me. They even built their own brand on Amazon. So the really neat thing is that I was actually my own customer avatar. And when I designed my brand for them, it was my kids that were actually driving our product, evaluation and everything else that we did. So here's some photos of some of my amazing leadership. There's Dan Ashburn, my business partner, and just a huge amount of brain power that powers Titan and this presentation. So I just wanted to give props to all of our amazing, amazing guys out there. Hello, Titans. Good to see you. And here are some of our women. So again, we're about 35% women within Titan, which is unheard of. So we're very, very excited to be representing the female in our audience. So let's talk a little bit about ChatGPT. I know that Amy mentioned a bit about it, but what's really interesting about this is that it is conversational. So the more that you communicate with it, the more that you kind of play with it, the more it's going to understand you, your language, and what you're looking for. And it's going to help you to gain insights into customer behavior and really understanding and enhancing the customer experience, because it's actually feeding itself so much data that you or I would never be able to do, just because it's actually pulling information from the internet. And so when you're asking it a question, it really has a plethora of experience from the back side of all of that it's gotten to. So here it's going to show you how to iterate faster, how to stay up to date, how to increase the effectiveness and efficiency of your team members, how to get ideas, and how to start solving problems that we as humans might not be able to solve as easily. So what is a customer avatar? Now, this is something I'm extremely, extremely passionate about, because I've worked in Hollywood. I built a huge mommy following. I've worked in the automotive industry. I've worked in pretty much any industry you can imagine. And in order to really understand an industry and to build a mastermind or events or products or anything that you want to do, any kind of service, you need to understand who you're talking to. And this is something that, for example, Lululemon mastered. They know exactly who their avatar is. They know how much she makes or he makes. They know what kind of activities they do. They know where they live. They know pretty much every detail about their customer. So when they're doing any sort of promotions, they're speaking to you directly. And so here's some examples. We're talking about dog owners, right? But this guy over here on the top left might be a very different avatar than the lady on the bottom right, So what you really have to understand is who you're speaking to and where do they live. And we're going to show you a couple of usable ways that you're able to use this right now, taking some prompts from ChatGPT and actually making this work. Okay, so now we're going to do this in real time. I'm going to pull this prompt right now. And let me actually get this out of this here. Okay, so watch me. I'm going to pull this out, and then we're going to go over to ChatGPT and show you how it's going to go. Give me just 1 second. For some reason, Chris might need to help me. Oh, there it is. I got it. Okay. Ready? And here we go. We're going to put that into ChatGPT and watch what it has. So I'm saying, give me 10 ideas for, not yet. Okay, here it is. Define a customer avatar that's important to your, demographics. Okay, so let's see here. Sorry, let me just give you that prompt again. Defining the customer avatar for my brand. We sell pet products for people who are interested in keeping a modern, stylish home. Okay, so now this is literally pulling up as we speak. Do you see it actually creating all of this right now? So what it's giving me is the demographics of a female who's between 25 to 45. She might be single, she might be married, the college education of it, all of the different demographics, the buying behavior, every little piece of it is going to just automatically get driven into the ChatGPT. And then when we take it out of there, we're able to see right here how it's going to design. Here, Chris, can you help me with this one piece though? All right, let's see here. I think it didn't. So it's telling me that, okay, so I want to know more want to know more about the woman behind the dog brand who is also interested in style. Let's see. As we pull that up, it's going to start to give me even more information about it. So here, actually, Chris, can you help me with that one piece right there? For some reason, she's still a creative person who cares about her appearance of her home. Let's see here. Okay, so we're just pulling this back on track here. Okay, so then, oh, here we go. So the next thing that we have to do is get them to give me 10 more prompts on how it's going to then, here we go. Okay, so when you start to give it a few more prompts, it's going to show you 10 ways that you can communicate with your audience. So the first thing that it's going to show you is how to welcome your audience to your new brand. So for example, this one's really cute. It says, welcome to the pack. Introduce your brand and invite subscribers to follow your social media and accounts for exclusive content and updates. So once we understand who we're speaking to, then all we need to do is prompt it to give us the next 10 steps to actually connect with our audience. So what that used to be is you'd have to learn how to copywrite. You'd have to be able to build out an entire email sequence. Now, all you have to do is have the exact prompts that you use with the customer. And now you just take each one of these prompts, and if you dump it into ChatGPT and you ask them to put together an email sequence, it's going to show you exactly what you need to do. So let me just get back to that. Sorry, guys, this was a little bit crazier trying to do this live than trying to do it. There we go. Okay, so here we are. So here, let's go back to the prompts. So the first prompt was defining the customer avatar for my brand. We sell pet products for people who are interested in keeping a modern and stylish home. So then it gave me all the details of my customer, which was fantastic. Then the next one was give me 10 ideas for a welcome email series for people who sign up for my email list, make them funny and engaging themes, each one with an opportunity for a call to action. Then once you do that, you're going to take each one of those responses and that becomes another prompt. I probably shouldn't have tried to do that live, but anyway, we're trying lots of new things with ChatGPT. And what we did right now is we're able to pull that out. And then once you do, it's going to actually write for you each one of these welcome emails, which is going to make it so that all you have to do is dump that into your active campaign or whatever server that you use, and you can literally be communicating with your audience. Because here's the crazy thing. There's people who sell on Amazon and have been selling for years. Like we have so many people within Titan who have these amazing lists of, let's say, 1,500 people. They have 5,000 people on their list and they do not communicate with them. And so if you're trying to create raving fans, you actually have to make them into raving fans. And so the whole idea is when you really understand who you're talking to, that was kind of what I was trying to go for earlier. It was show you how to build that, but all you have to do is play with this, take those prompts, dump it in there, and you're going to understand. You can literally understand who you're already selling to, which is craziness. I actually took a couple of brands of the guys that we work with, and I put some of the details in there, and they were already speaking the language of these brands. And these are some significant brands, and they even use some of the terminology and some of the fun things that these guys do because they were able to pull their social media, they were able to pull from their website, and they were able to actually understand who they're talking to. So now that you have that, all you have to do is use this prompt and set it up so that it then gives you the next 10 email sequences that you can use. You can also find your social media posts. You can do all kinds of things. So I'm just going to show you something that's really, really amazing. And I'm going to give you something at the end that's going to help you to do all of this. So this is actually a way for you to build your customer list. If you guys are selling on Amazon and you don't have your own customer list, you are wasting such a huge opportunity. And so instead of having to design all of this and figure this out and get like a whole, not just the copyright right, but then you've got to get the logo and you've got all these details. There's actually ways that you could create all of this using AI, just prompting it and feeding it the right information. And we have all of this in something I'm going to show you at the very end. So here's something really cute. This is an AI product development that was done as part of a workshop that we had within Titan. So what we do in Titan is we don't just do like a presentation. We actually spend several hours working on these things. And so we had Andrew Erickson and Chris Rawlings do a AI 3-hour session. And in that session, they went from nothing to full brand idea, to actually getting the listings, the product developed, and everything like that. And so as you can see, this was one of the sexy ones that came out of that. These are dog bowls for that avatar that was pulled up earlier, where it's somebody who really like loves their home, they love their dogs, they live like a high-end lifestyle. And if you've seen those dog bowls that are just on the ground and they're yucky and they get everywhere and people kick them and they just kind of get nasty, look at some of the cool things that it came up with. And this was just on its own. It was just prompting it, and then it gave us a bunch of ideas. And this is something that you can do very, very easily. And so the days of spending months, I have had people spend 6 months, even a year trying to develop a product. You can literally just punch in a few things and this thing gets created, which is pretty magical. And so here's an example of one of the really cool inserts. And I'm going to give you all the details on how to get all this going in just a second. So to create an extraordinary life, it does take extraordinary measures. And one of the things that I see within Titan is that people will want to create this amazing brand. They'll want to do a lot of things, but they're not actually moving fast enough. They're not having the right mindset, and they're not surrounding themselves with amazing people like the people that were on this presentation today. So we have Amy, for example, who did a great presentation about, some other IA things. We also had Yulia, who's talking a lot about sourcing. And by the way, we do a trip to China, and everything that she was saying about really, understanding how to negotiate, how to source correctly. And I know Chelsea's about to come on and talk about some really great product sourcing. If you don't have people within your life that have been able to show you how to get to where you want to be, and you don't actually do that fast enough, you're going to be left behind. And one of the main things about this whole AI wave is that if you understand these prompts and you understand how to play with it and communicate with it live, you're going to be able to build things that literally would take people, months, if not years to do. And so instead of trying to get all that fit in 10 minutes, I'm actually going to give you guys a really special gift. Here are some of our amazing people. This right here is the underground guide to ChatGPT prompts that Chris Rawlings put together, and it is absolute fire. Inside here, you have all the details of how to really get those raving fans going by spitting in just the exact things. I mean, it literally will show you how to put together your listings, how to do everything like that. And I happen to be sitting next to Chris right now, so I just wanted to give him some props. Say, hey, Chris, tell them a little bit more about what they're going to learn on this thing.
Yeah, the underground guide to ChatGPT prompts. This basically was kind of like a bottom-up curated prompt guide that goes through different categories of types of prompts, and it gives you the prompt, an example of an output, and it shows a video of the prompt being created and the reason to use the prompt. So I think we have like 10 different categories in there between getting advice from ChatGPT, having it create content for you, having it be an idea generator for you, having it edit content, having it parse through data like bad reviews and good reviews. We have a number of different categories, and we have dozens and dozens of prompts in there. And this is actually a living document. So it's a link where we're continuing to update it over time. We have like an internal community just for AI for Amazon sellers, and we source new ideas for how to use ChatGPT for sellers. And we keep adding to this guide over time. So I love it. It's a great, valuable guide. I use it and I reference it myself even.
That's right. And so what I did was I punched in a couple of them, but if you go in there, it's all laid out for you, because it's not enough to just say, hey, there's this great thing. You actually need to understand how to use it, what to punch in. And that is what we're providing for you right now with this underground thing that's going to be so cool. So just to summarize, you've got to really understand who you're communicating to. The days of just throwing products up there are over. As an example, people used to just sell kitchen products randomly. Now it's like, is it kitchen products to eco-friendly, people who are really into bamboo and sustainable products? Or is this, a mom who, just wants convenience? Or is this some high-end guy who loves to go to Sur La Table and spend $20 on an avocado slicer? Or are you talking to someone who's in college who needs, 50 different products right away at a super cheap price because they literally have nothing in their kitchen and they need to be able to get started? So if you really understand, and then you take each one further, is this a college kid who's, kind of dark and needs everything to be black, you know what I mean? Or is this a girl who loves pink? Like, we can really take things and get it down to the specifics of who we're talking to. And all we have to do is prompt this amazing AI to give us all the details of their income bracket, how they talk, their language, everything in literally seconds. And this used to take so much research and so much of an understanding. And so what we've done within Titan is we've actually taken everyone's experience, we shoved it into this amazing document. And as a special gift, thank you for having us, Nick. I'm actually going to give this to everybody as a gift. So all you have to do is email me at athena@titannetwork.com, and you're going to get access to every single prompt that you need to actually build this stuff out. And so it does it for you. And so my name is Athena Severi, and I wish you nothing but success. I know there's a lot of amazing people in here, men and women, but just wanted to tell you from the bottom of my heart, only 1% of female-owned businesses ever hit $1 million. Right. And so it's actually a really big deal what we're doing here on Amazon, and the fact that we're able to create a lifestyle for our children for the future. That's something that's never been so possible before, where you can literally do that from home and then create something that has amazing enterprise value. And so it's an honor for me to be part of this community. Chelsea, who's coming on next, was actually the person that got me into Amazon. Her husband actually worked with me at the consulting firm where I quit my job because they were actually selling kitchen products on Amazon, and I was blown away by that. She showed me, the app, and that's literally how I got involved in Amazon. And so anyway, I apologize, Nick, this was a very kind of short thing, and the doing it live demo wasn't my best. But if you actually go to that document and you punch in some of these things, you're going to be amazed once you play with it, how much that's going to give you exactly who you're speaking to, ways for you to actually build that list, and ways for you to actually be able to take a brand just from concept to reality in such a short time. Take that information, use some of the ideas that they were talking about with sourcing, and you can literally source these products and build them out to something that could be technically worth millions of dollars in a few years. I mean, it is literally the gold rush of e-commerce right now. And so it is so exciting to me what you're doing, the fact that you're bringing people together, and that you, from your position, Nick, you're serving our community and helping people to navigate their taxes and their accounting and things like that, while still providing value to the community by bringing through superstars like my business partner, Dan Ashburn, Lyden, Chris, Chelsea, Amy, Yulia, all these guys. So I really appreciate what you're doing. And this thing that I just gave to you guys, like, you have to email me to get it, because I don't want it out in the world. I don't want this thing getting into everyone's hands. Like, this is the playbook. This is underground. So if you guys get a hold of this and start punching in some of the stuff and play with it, you are going to be light years ahead of the crowd. And then don't just take what it gives you. Do play with it. Human contact is always going to be so important. And so even if it spits out some great ideas, you still have to tweak it, and you still have to understand it, and you still have to humanize it, because in a world where there's a lot of AI, there's a lot of virtual reality, there's a lot of, Instagram and things happening, I think that being human is the most important thing. And that's why live human interaction is still always going to be at the top. So understand who your customer is, get them to help you out, but then take it a step further by really understanding who you're communicating with, and making sure that everything that, it's giving you really would hit home to that person that you're talking to. Because if you look at any of the brands that become huge, huge successes, it's because of that. It's because they really, I know when I open an Apple product, for example, I get excited. You know what I mean? I have certain brands that move me, certain brands that I will literally follow to the ends of the earth. And the reason that they've created that raving fanness within me is because they speak to me, and they don't just give me some generic whatever. Like, they actually know, they research, they put every detail into understanding how it makes somebody feel, how it makes somebody react. And so the more that you can understand that, you're going to create brands. I'll give you an example. We have a couple guys who are in Titan. When they started with us about 1.5 years ago, they were doing about 20,000 a month in sales through understanding their customer avatar, through, humor and things like that. They're actually called Happy Nuts. They're doing almost $1 million a month on Amazon. And that's just in 1.5 years. And so the opportunity is now. You have to just understand your customer. Their customer is hilarious. It's guys. It's like, Happy Nuts, like some of their slogans and some of their things are actually quite humorous, but they've just done such a good job of understanding it. I'll give you one more example. Our guy, Josh, he sells pillowcases, right? He just had one product, pillowcases. There's 1 million pillowcases on Amazon. But the fact that he went further and really understood his customer, it's like a luxurious brand, it's kind of sexy, and he was able to price point it in the middle. He was able to take something that is sort of a pretty easy generic product. There's tons and tons of them on Amazon. He did $1 million his first year in business with one product by really speaking to his audience and making it sexy. So I think that it's really important to understand the human element of it. And this whole thing of Chat GPT is really just a tool that allows you to get there so much faster. And these are the prompts that didn't come from just one human playing with this. This came from a bunch of collective contribution of our network. And that is our gift to you today. So anyway, thank you so much for having me. It's been an honor. I love you, Chelsea. You're a goddess. And to all the badass women out there, I salute you. I know it's not always easy to be a mom and try to balance everything and try to build and travel and do all the things all at once. But I will tell you, my kids are now 12 and 15, and they tell me how much I inspire them every day. They know that I've built something for myself, but that I also help impact other people, and that I've helped a lot of people to find their own freedom. And to my kids, that's everything. So I might not have been in every game and everything that, baking them cookies every day, but I think being out there and being a badass and showing people what is possible is amazing. And so again, I respect and salute all of you amazing women who are balancing both building a family and also being a rock star at the same time.
Thank you, Tina. And just to mention something, I've done 200 webinars. This is the first webinar where people are not dropping from the webinar at any stage. So you're amazing.
Thank you, Dominic. I was so annoyed because I was trying to prompt the thing and it was kind of getting messed up. And so I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die. But you know what? Here's the thing, Nick. What you're doing is amazing. The people are still on because they believe in your message and everything that's happening. And I'm not joking. The moment you guys get a hold of these prompts and start playing with it, you're going to be building stuff that I'm not joking. It took us years to do this. You guys are in such an amazing place. It literally took us years to try to figure out how to build what this thing's going to spit out for you in 5 minutes. It's nuts, right? So enjoy that, connect with great people. Lots of love to you. I'm going to head out now. And thank you again so much for having me. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you, Tina. Yeah, just something.
Okay, sorry, just one more thing. That woman is a freaking goddess, okay? So I met her because she was building communities in sort of an artist vibe, and I was building communities in a mommy vibe. And then we ended up, having dinner at one of our work things, because as I mentioned, I worked with her husband, Ari, in a consulting firm. And if it wasn't for the fact that these guys, found their own way in Amazon and then told me, hey, Athena, why are you working for someone else? Why do you have a normal job? You could do so much better than that. And then I broke through my barriers, my personal, lack of belief in myself. And then I did. None of this would have happened, and we wouldn't have been able to inspire and help so many people. So the woman that's about to come on here is a freaking goddess. And the fact that she was willing and open to help other people with her genius is the reason that myself and a whole lot of other people have found their freedom. So thank you, Chelsea, for whatever the heck is going to come out of your mouth. Okay, bye, Nick. Thanks so much for having me.
Okay, thank you, Tina. And just to mention something for one of the things, Christy Tam. I want to mention that I'm quoting her. This webinar have been already mind-blowing. That's from 30 minutes ago. So much awesome info. Thank you, woman power.
Okay, yes, woman power. You're cute. Okay, thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you, Tina. Bye-bye. Hey, Chelsea. Thank you. You've been very patient. And this is probably the most emotional webinar I've ever done. I've had... So let's continue with the inventory. It's not a sexy topic, and my topic is gonna be even less than sexy. But the thing is, what you guys have covered so far is important, but inventory is very important. Chelsea is the wizard of that. She's a master, and she's gonna tell you what she does, who she is, and how she can help out. Well, thanks again, Chelsea. I cannot hear her, by the way.
There we go. Okay, so the first thing to know, yes, inventory is not a sexy product. I like this, or a sexy conversation. I like to say it gets a lot sexier when you put a bunch of zeros behind it. There's a lot of money that can be made or lost in inventory management, or like I like to say, inventory mismanagement. There is a lot more now that Amazon's fees have, exponentially increased. I've been helping some people with excess storage fees and overstock, and there are thousands and thousands of dollars that are being lost every day by excess storage fees. So the bigger your business gets, the more you're going to be losing in overstock and in stock outs. A little bit about myself. So I have been selling on Amazon since 2014. In 2018, I started building a company called SoStocked, inventory management software. And that was because I was trying to solve my own problem, right? Spending so much time building out Excel spreadsheets, running out of stock, overstocking, not really very good at inventory management. And the reason I created the company and the software was because I was losing money. I wasn't as profitable as I needed to be. So that was where everything came about. Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, so just very quick overview. Amazon's fees have increased 15% over the last 2 years. They restructured aged inventory. So at 6 months, everything gets more expensive. Everything stacks on top of one another. And what that means is that you're not going to just pay a monthly storage fee every single month, but at six months, you're going to have these additional fees, which we'll go over very briefly. And that stacks upon your monthly fees. And then storage utilization fees come about. Only about 7% of people are actually going to be paying those fees. So we won't go into that too much. But capacity manager has come into play. It replaced restock limits. So we're going to go over all of this. And basically, I just want you to get the idea. There's so many fees that are stacking up that if you don't play your cards right, you could lose the majority of your profit in all of these fees. Amazon doesn't make them very clear. So it's hard to kind of follow how much impact they're going to make on your business. So let's talk about, first and foremost, I like to call it storage multipliers. When you have a product and you're selling it and it takes you, let's say, 3 months to sell through that product, you're actually going to be paying multiple times. If you've got 900 units and you're paying 87 cents per unit, let's say, for example, you're going to pay that once, but then for 600 of those units, if you're selling 300 units per month, you have 600 units that you're going to be paying twice on. And then the third month, you have 300 units that you're going to be paying 3 times on. So you're actually going to be paying for 900 units, $1,500.66 in this scenario. So it's not just that you're going to pay 87 cents, it's that you're going to pay multiple times. I actually sat down and worked out, how do you figure out by looking at each month how much you're going to be owing? If we take that $1,500 and we divide it by the 900 units, we're actually going to be paying $1.79 for each one of those units. So this is what you have to think with. You have to start thinking that everything, I can't just look at landed cost. I have to look at, is my product profitable after I've had it in Amazon for 3 months, for 4 months, for 5 months? Am I actually going to be profitable? If we look at it, there's every single month that you have your inventory in stock, you're paying a 0.5 points above. So 1 month you're paying 1 time. The second month you're paying 1.5, so on. So 3 months you're paying twice. You're paying that fee twice on every single unit that you put in. Once you get to 6 months, you're actually paying an extra 50 cents per cubic foot. And then you're paying $1 per cubic foot the next month. And then you're paying $1.50 per cubic foot, and then $3.80, and so on. You're paying all of this money so that if you leave inventory in there for 12 months, you're actually paying $9.86 per cubic foot. It's very, very important. If you have slow selling products and you're just sitting there waiting for those products to sell out, and maybe you're not paying attention to them, you're paying attention to your big sellers, that slow moving product is going to start eating at your profit on the products that you are selling well. So you need to have a game plan for how are we going to move this? Are we going to remove that? And removal fees have actually doubled. So Amazon is really trying to discourage you from sending inventory in until it's actually going to sell. You have to kind of rethink the way that you think about sending inventory in, selling through inventory, paying attention to your slow sellers, your products that you should probably liquidate. It's actually, you can figure out that it's going to cost you more to keep it there than to remove it in some cases. So this is a calculator, and I can provide this calculator to you guys after if you go ahead and contact me. But this is a calculator that will help you to see how much you're actually paying on a product that you're not really selling through. Something is happening with the, hold on a second. All right. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the capacity manager. As most of you probably know, the restock limits has become the capacity manager. Now we have more visibility on how much inventory and how much space we can occupy, or how much inventory we can send in for the next 3 months. Every single month we have a different capacity. This is actually a very, Amazon has made this very complicated. And I actually sat and I read through all of the crazy policies. There's a couple of different policies that they've put out to really understand what is actually going to happen. We know that we can bid for storage. That's a big change, right? Our goal is to avoid a stock out. So if you have, let's say 500 cubic feet of space, but you feel like you need 550 cubic feet of space, you can actually, just like in PPC, you can actually bid for storage. So you say, okay, I'm willing to pay $10 for each cubic foot. So I'm going to pay $500 for storage. If you're doing that, you actually have an opportunity to pay up to 500, and you can end up paying 0. So the way that works is you place your bid, and then Amazon says, okay, you put your money where your mouth is, you're gambling that you can sell this. If you can sell through a certain percentage, if you can sell through that inventory, we're actually going to give you credit. So you can have, let's say you paid $500, they say, okay, you sold through half of that, we're only going to charge you $250. So that's the gamble that you take. So you go, okay, I undersold, now I have to pay $250. I have to pay that bid. And then let's say next month, because you have kind of affected your inventory performance index, Amazon says, you know what? I don't really trust that you are that good at moving inventory, so we're going to lower your capacity. The problem is that you've sent all this inventory in because you bet that you were going to sell it through. Amazon can the next month lower your capacity to a point where you have more inventory than what Amazon is allowing you to have. They're going to charge you fees. So not only are you paying for the bid, you're also paying in overage fees. The overage fees are calculated on a daily basis. So you want to make sure to really thread that needle and make sure that you're not stocking out, but then you're not overstocking as well. All of these fees are going to cost a lot of money. So that's the frustrating piece. So what do we actually do about it? There's actually a process that I have liked to talk about called inventory-minded marketing. This is something that you need to put in place where your marketing team lets your inventory team know what they're doing. And then your inventory team lets the marketing team know what the state of inventory is and actually gives them reports that will help them to improve their marketing plans. Before restock limits, the most common reason that people ran out of stock was that the marketing team didn't tell the inventory team what they were doing. They'd make an update to PPC, they would, optimize the listing, they would run a lightning deal, and they didn't have the inventory to actually afford to
Chelsea,
do that.
cannot hear, by the way. I'm not sure if it's only me.
You can't hear?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you now. I lost it for like Okay, now it's okay.
I'm not, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, how much did you miss of that?
Probably 10 seconds.
Okay. Okay, good. So the most common way that people ran out of stock was because of marketing. Marketing would make some tweak, they would increase PPC, they would do a lightning deal, and inventory, they didn't have enough inventory available. And we're not just talking about, you know, sellers who are starting out, who are brand new. I worked with a seller, an 8-figure seller, who decided on a whim to run a campaign for Mother's Day. Did this big email campaign, very successful, lightning deals, the whole thing. The next month for Father's Day, he was running out of stock. He had to turn off all of his lightning deals. He had to lower his PPC and try to avoid a stock out. So it's a very common thing. If you don't have these systems in place, you need to get them in place. You need to switch the marketing team and the inventory team to thinking about profit and cash flow. The marketing team thinks a lot about revenue and driving revenue and the sales, but doesn't necessarily think as much about having it be profitable and increasing cash flow. If you don't have profit, you don't have cash flow, right? Unless you're paying a funding company, you're borrowing a bunch of money, but how are you going to pay that money back if you don't have profit? So here are the different reports, and I like this to be very actionable. So we've got the reports that we talk about, something that we have in SoStocked automatically, but it's something that you can work to build yourself as well. You want to stock out risk report. You want to know which products are going to stock out, when are they going to stock out, and how long. So we're looking at how many days are they going to stock out. If we're going to stock out for 57 days, you're not going to really be able to avoid a stock out like that. So you have to take different actions than if you can avoid the stock out. If I know I'm going to be out of stock for 7 days, I could probably avoid that. I could probably do something, work with my marketing team to avoid the stock outs. The marketing team is paying for ads. So the more ads that they run into a stock out, the less money you're making on every single sale. So if you turn down your ads, you're making more money on every single sale, and you're slowing down your sales to be able to try to avoid that stock out. This is a report that you should be executing on a weekly basis, the stock out risk report. So with the stock out, if you have a stock out that's coming up and you're looking at these reports and you can't avoid this stock out, the thing that should be done is I have something called the stock out avoidance checklist or action list. The inventory team has certain things to do, right? Is there a way to express ship inventory in? Is there a way to switch to FBM? Are there things that can be done to try to get inventory in faster? And then there's, of course, things that you can do afterwards to say, how did that happen and how can I prevent it in the future? Which we'll talk about in a second, which is another action list that I have. The marketing team has certain things that they need to do if they can potentially avoid the stock out. Things like deactivating coupon codes, cutting back on aggressive marketing, making sure you're tracking your page ranking so that if you are slowing down sales, you're not losing your page ranking at the same time. And then working with the inventory team to make sure the inventory actually arrives. If you can't avoid a stock out, one of the things that should be done is to try to, some people like to increase sales or at least maintain sales and then close the listing at a high page ranking. If you don't do that, the page ranking will start to slow down. You want to tell Amazon that it's not that your sales stopped because no one wants your product, it's that you didn't have any inventory. There's a way of kind of, triggering Amazon's algorithm. So you can increase marketing or, just maintain your page rankings. Make sure that you're tracking an increase or a maintaining of the page rankings. And then this is something that is really actually a little hack. I got this from Vanessa Hung. If you guys know Vanessa Hung, super smart in the Amazon space. She you want to tell Amazon that you're not stocked out. You actually want to strand your inventory. You have the inventory performance index, which tells Amazon how good or bad you are at inventory. The inventory or IPI score has everything to do with how much inventory they're going to give, inventory space they're going to give you in the capacity manager. So if you start to decrease your score, that's going to impact the future of your inventory and your ability to send in inventory to Amazon. So it's very important. With the different factors that come up in inventory performance index, some of them are more important than others. One of the more important ones is avoiding stockouts, your in-stock rate. That has a lot more bearing on your score than stranded inventory. And stranded inventory means that you have a listing that is not live on Amazon, right? Suspended or inactive. And you've got this inventory sitting there and it can't be sold because your listing isn't live. So that's stranded inventory. It's usually easy to resolve if you can reactivate your listing. But if you can avoid a stock out, you have a stock out coming up, and instead of running out of stock, say wait till you have, say, 5 units or 10 units, and then intentionally strand your inventory. Try turning off your listing or creating a listing violation, like changing your image to your main image to remove your white background, right? You're supposed to have a specific amount of white background on your image. You can change that by, zooming into that image and removing that white background. And then you'll get a listing suspension, and that will strand your inventory. So that does a lot less to affect your score, which will help in the long run in terms of how Amazon sees your business and how you are with inventory. The other things that you should be doing is preparing for re-ranking. The marketing team needs to prepare for ranking those products. When you come back in stock, what are you going to do to drive those sales again? It's very important to not run out of stock as well, because that most of the time you can get a product back, but every now and then, once in a blue moon, something weird happens and you never recover that product. It never goes back to the way it was. So you can sometimes kill a product simply by running out of stock, which is another reason why stranding inventory is a good idea, because it could help to avoid something like that. And then adopt inventory-minded marketing strategies to sync your marketing and your inventory team. So the first of that is the stock out. The other thing that you should look at is, why did I actually stock out? What was it that caused me to run out of stock? You look at the past year and you see, how often did you stock out? How many times did you stock out? Amazon gives this information through the API, but there's no report that we've been able to find in Seller Central that you can use. So you can keep a log of all the days that you stocked out and keep track of that, right, starting today, so you can start gathering that information, or you can pull it from the API. You can identify the percentage of days that you ran out of stock, and you can also look at, is there a specific supplier that caused me to run out of stock? If I see that every one of my products that significantly ran out of stock was from the same supplier, that might be where my problem lies. So you should create a report. I call it the past stock out report, and this should be something that you look at quarterly. Then you have the stock out assessment checklist. I won't get into all of the details, but like I said, you can send me an email, chelsea@sostock.com, and I can send this to you along with the other reports and the calculator that we talked about earlier. But what you do with the stock out assessment is you look at the different reasons why you might be stocking out, and then how can you avoid doing that in the future? Is it that your inventory management systems are not correct? Maybe you are not forecasting correctly. Is it that you have restock limits? And what do we do to avoid those things? Shipping delays. Where is that problem occurring? Is there a disconnect between your supplier and your freight forwarder, and they're not getting the inventory out the door because there's miscommunication and they miss the boat and have to wait another week before the next ship date? Is it your ground freight? Is it your 3PL is not getting your inventory sent out the door, right? Some 3PLs might take 5 days to even fulfill the request to ship inventory into Amazon. Is it Amazon not checking in your inventory? And there are ways to prevent that from happening. If you've ever experienced Amazon, your inventory arriving at Amazon and then not getting checked in for weeks, there's something called live unload. And this assessment checklist will talk a little bit more about live unload, but it basically means your inventory is delivered and it gets checked in almost immediately. So if you're having problems with that, especially before Prime Day and before the fourth quarter, Black Friday and all of those sales events, you may want to consider live unload. It is more expensive, but if it's the difference between stocking out and not for important holidays, especially, that's when it starts to make sense. Supplier delays, we go into that in the checklist. What are the reasons for the supplier delays? Why is it happening? Start talking to your supplier and asking them these questions. Sometimes it's the raw materials. They're not able to get, cardboard. There was a shortage of cardboard in China. And not only did that slow things down, but they started using thinner cardboard. And that caused a lot of damages. So the products would arrive damaged. So inspection companies can help you with that side of things. If you're getting a lot of damaged, we call it inventory shrinkage, right? You order 1,000 units and you get 950 that are actually sellable. And I know we're short on time, so I want to go through these fairly quickly. You will have a liquidation report, right? The liquidation report helps you to figure out what are those products that really just aren't selling. Maybe they're selling less than 5 units a day. If you have 1,000 units as your minimum order quantity and you're selling less than 5 units a day, you're going to have months and months of that product sitting there collecting all of those fees that we talked about. These are products that you just really need to focus on. How do I get rid of these as fast as possible? It's going to cost me a lot. I have a lot of inventory sitting there. I have 200 days worth of inventory sitting there. That's a time when you look at, do I remove it? Do I drop do I drop the prices? Do I do an email campaign? How can I get rid of this as fast as possible? Liquidation report. So this is where we talk about the inventory team communicating with the marketing team. Inventory team sends this report to the marketing team. Now the marketing team knows that they should actually be moving through this product. What are they going to do about it? So that's where we look at, okay, it's not just about revenue, it's about profit. And the marketing team thinks a lot about the revenue. We get them to think about profit when we send them the liquidation report, and we send them something called the slow sellers report. The difference between those two, it sounds very similar. And just so that you know, I'm talking very fast. These reports that you have that you're going to be getting will have links to some of these concepts that will help you to better understand. And then we're having a replay be sent out, I'm pretty sure. Slow sellers looks at a range, right? It's not yet so bad that it's going to be liquidated, right? It's above, let's say 5, but below 20. Maybe for your business, that's a zone where you're not so confident that it's a great seller, and it could end up being a liquidation product, but it also has the potential to be a decent product. We want to move it above that 20 unit a day mark or whatever it is for your business. This report needs to also go to the marketing team so they can develop a plan to move that out the top of that list before it moves out the bottom and becomes liquidation. And then lastly, we have overstock. You've got, let's say, over 90 days of stock. That's a problem. We should start moving that inventory, because the longer it sits there, the more we're going to pay in fees. This report also goes to your marketing team. A lot of times your slow sellers, your liquidation products are going to be on this list, but your best sellers could be too. If you have let's say 120 days worth of a bestseller, the marketing team should be excited about that. They're probably wanting to rank for certain products or certain keywords, right? Now they can take that extra inventory and run through it quickly, do, let's say, a targeted PPC campaign, do an off Amazon campaign, and drive sales to that keyword because you have all that inventory that is available to market with. I'm going to cut it short. I go in depth on things like dimensional weight and things like how to resize your product. We're getting into product resizing. We're finding thousands and tens of thousands of dollars in people's business with product resizing, carton optimization, pallet optimization. If you're interested in learning more about these things, you can reach out on sostock.com/connect. And we have various different free resources. Also can reach out and contact me directly, and I can help to point you in the right direction for those new tools that we're developing. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing now and call that a day.
Okay, thanks,
all you guys who stayed here for all of that.
Yeah, thanks, Chelsea. This is the longest webinar I've ever done. You know, the last record was 90 minutes. Now we've broken that with like 23 minutes. So as everybody sees, I'm not a woman.
I think it stayed on my timeline. I think there were other ladies who did that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no worry. I'm gonna compensate. I'm gonna do my part, and I promise that I'm gonna be very quick. And let me just share my screen. You know, we covered a lot of topics, and all of them are extremely important because if you follow the advice of Yulia, Athena, Amy, and Chelsea, you're gonna have a great base. You know, I would say that you succeed in the States, you know, if you're selling on Amazon, which is the hardest market. But the thing which I'm gonna cover today is something which nobody's talking about, and now is the best time to consider that because US is the big market, but it's not the only one. So I'm gonna talk about why expanding to Europe can be a huge success for your e-commerce business. So just some numbers. I love numbers because they show exactly what we're talking about. There is 450 million new customers in Europe. And Europe has the highest average spend per order globally, which is great for everybody who has a great product, which is what Yulia mentioned earlier. In Europe, there are 3 million e-commerce brands compared to over 9 million in the States. So 3 times less competition than the USA, which means a huge opportunity. And one thing for everybody who is an Amazon seller, only 2% of Amazon US sellers are also selling on Amazon Pan-EU, which means all the Amazon marketplaces. So 98% are not selling. And that's crazy because people sometimes are scared to make the next step, but just consider this, no, only 2%. So almost all of your competitors are not doing that. So if you do that, you're gonna transform your brand from a local one, even the biggest market, to a global one. In 50 new countries, 24 official languages, 5 currencies. If your competitors are not doing that, you're gonna take them over and be the first one. And one thing again about sourcing, once you're selling to a whole new huge market, you're gonna source more products, so you're gonna pay less to your suppliers, so you're gonna have like higher profit margin. And just to mention something which a lot of people don't know, even if Europe is harder than the USA to get started, you have less competition, and once you establish yourself, it's a long-term revenue stream with higher profit margins. But of course, I mean, you're gonna say if it's that, if it looks so great now, why people are not doing that? And of course, there is a reason for that. There are certain blockers that are stopping people. The first thing is having the right product. We spoke a lot about that, so I'm not going to go into depth, but if you don't have a product, of course, you cannot expand. So this is a very important thing. But if you have a product already, you can do research. In Europe, there is multiple tools that you can use for that, like Zongo, Helium 10, Django Scout, etc. All of them are going to show what opportunities you have in Europe. Some of them are going to show exactly how much you would need to invest. So this is the first thing that you need to consider. Then you would need to deal with a few other things. Value-added tax, which is like the sales tax in the States, product compliance, fiscal representation in some countries, customs and logistics. And the last but not the least, you're going to need to deal with the culture and language barrier. And somebody would say, okay, man, forget it, Nick. I'm not going to do it. It's too hard. Yes, but no, because it's hard, it doesn't mean that you cannot do it. And that's why we have a solution for that, and I'm going to tell you what problem we're solving. I have a partnership agency, so I help companies to expand globally. And many of my partners are providing solutions which can solve all these issues. So we've bundled that into a package which is going to help online sellers when they expand to Europe. Because instead of looking for the solution yourself, we're going to help you make the first step, because most people don't do it because they don't know how and they don't have the right partners. But this is the good thing. I run a partnership agency network. I have 1,000+ partners. You've seen 4 of them here, but they're not the only ones. And because we're very close, we do stuff together, we help sellers. And that's what we're doing today. We're giving you some tips because you need to make the next step. And the solution to expand in Europe is really easy. I've been selling in Europe for 10 years. I was running a private label supplement business with 20 different brands, and all that is not that hard. But people are scared because they're different markets. So what's our solution? What we offer, And you need to just chat with me and one of my partners to actually take advantage of that. We offer 1 VAT registration in the UK or Germany. And somebody would say, okay, but Amazon is telling us to do multiple VATs. My advice, don't listen to Amazon. Amazon makes money from the fees, so they have an incentive to hook you up on Amazon if in multiple markets, but you don't need to do that. To sell in Europe, you just need 1 VAT, and even though you can choose UK and Germany, Germany is the best place. Germany is the 3rd biggest Amazon market, central location across Europe. They accept documents in English, so if you're an English speaker, you don't need to do translations. They don't have fiscal representation, which means it's easier and it's cheaper. And the last but not the least, they're located in the center of Europe, so they're ideal dispatch point. You storage your products there, you need 1 VAT. Don't worry for anything else. We're going to help you out with that. We've been working with like thousands of sellers at HelloTax, which is one of the companies that is a part of the package. We're going to get the VAT in a few months and you're going to start selling. But then there's another thing that you need to check. You might need it, you might not, but you need to check if your product, if you would need to get a product compliance, which means a specific certificate. Some products don't require that, but it's recommended to check that. And we have a partner for that. We're going to send your product. They're going to let you know if you need to do something, and they're going to do it for you. So broker 1 and 2 are taken care of. Number 3, logistics. You need to move your stock to Europe. And this is the good thing. We have a partner who is handling that in the US and Europe and globally. So they're going to advise you how you can move your stock to Europe. They have a solution where they can do the Amazon FBA prep and everything. So broker free, it's handled. Translations, you can use translation tools, but it's recommended to use a localized translator to do your listings the way that they should look like. And I've been selling in Europe in 20 markets, as I mentioned earlier. Having the right translation is the key. Having the specific wording in the sales pitch is very important. So my advice is to do that. So broker for number 4, taken care of. If you're selling on Amazon and other markets, we have partners who offer reimbursement, so you can get some profit out of that. And also we offer funding and FX bonuses. So all these things are good. But the great thing is that each one of these partners is giving away a different discount. So the total bonus that you can get to fund your expansion is over $2,000. And this is the minimum. Because, for example, HelloTax is going to provide you like $300. Some of the funding companies are going to give you almost $500 for the minimum funding. So the thing is, we're making it easier for you by bundling the package, and we're giving you some bonuses so we can get some courage to make the next step, because it's not that hard if you have the right partners. And I'm not going to go into details because we spend a lot of time to talk about that, but HelloTax have an all-in-one VAT solution. We connect your account to Amazon, we pull the data, we file the reports, and you don't need to worry about that. We have people who speak multiple languages, so we can take care of the managed service. But the idea is to put your VAT compliance on autopilot, and we're going to connect with the other partners so we can handle and do the rest. And if you want to, we have hundreds of agencies that we work with. So if you need somebody who's an expert on the agency side, we can help you with that. And this is just a few of the things that we offer, And just to summarize, These are some of the offers for today's webinar. 6 of the attendees can get like an extra 6 free VAT registration valued of over like $2,000. You would need to have, of course, the subscription on top of that to qualify. And the expansion offer is offering an additional $2,000 in discounts. You need to get in touch with me. We're gonna have that in the follow-up to book a consultation. We're gonna advise you. We're gonna do more than just to sell a service. We're gonna advise you on how you can make the next step, what you need to do so we can prepare to move to Europe. And I'm done, guys. I didn't track how long I was speaking, but I think that was quick. But now we're gonna move to the questions. Unfortunately, the other speakers had to leave, but we're gonna try to answer the questions as best as we can because we might not be the experts. So the first question, it was answered by Yulia already. The second question is from Gerdy Surfin. I would like to have a business on Amazon buying products and reselling them. Where do I start? Chelsea, can you answer this question? I cannot hear her, by the way.
Oh, yes. So I think it sounds like a wholesale question, wanting to go into wholesale rather than private label. I'm not exactly sure. There are different places where you can find resources for that. If you go to carbon6.io, SoStock has actually been acquired by Carbon6, so we're one of the Carbon6 tools. And there is a page on there that's the community page. You're going to find a bunch of different communities. There's a Facebook community for wholesale specifically. And you'll be able to see Philip is there. He's one of the moderators of the group. He's extremely helpful, has a lot of different content. And also we have a tool called Scan Unlimited. So if you are able to connect with wholesale companies or companies to wholesale for them, you get a list of all of these different product opportunities, but not all of them are actually going to be profitable when you have a wholesale business. What the tool is going to do is going to scan the entire report and figure out which products are profitable and which products are not on Amazon. So that's going to be one of the things that's extremely helpful. There was also when I did a little bit of wholesale, and one of the resources that I did was a course called the Wholesale Formula. So that might be something that you might be interested in checking out as well.
Okay, thanks, Chelsea. And somebody was asking for the email, but it got dismissed. So the email is really simple. It's np, like my name, np@hellotax.com. But also don't worry about that. We're gonna send an email with the recording tomorrow and the follow-up, and you're gonna have all the information there. So we have another question from Gerdy Surfin. How much money do I need to start? And can I live in Brooklyn, New York, and start business in Europe? So yeah, I'm gonna answer that. You can live anywhere you want. Once we go to Mars, you can live there and you can sell in Europe. The only thing you need for Europe is VAT. You don't need to have a company in Europe. You just need one VAT to start. We're gonna help you to check with the product if you need product compliance, and we're gonna help with the rest, like the customs, the import, everything. The thing is, we're like a one-stop shop to your expansion to Europe. We're gonna consult you. We're gonna tell you how you can do it, but it doesn't matter where you live and where your company is based. You don't need to set up a company in Europe. And as a matter of fact, that's why Germany is the best place, because you don't need to make an incorporation there. To be exact, no country in Europe is requiring that. So, and that's how it is. Another question from Ursa Skov. Being European, new to Amazon, what makes more sense? Selling on Amazon US with non-resident US company or European company? And same question for selling in Amazon Germany and the UK. The Amazon US, it's easier to start selling, and I have partners who can help out with the incorporation and to actually start selling on Amazon US. By the way, we're gonna do a webinar for that next month, but I'm gonna share my email. Get in touch with me. We're gonna book a consultation, and we're gonna connect with partners who specialize in Amazon US, and they're going to explain in details what are the next steps. And for selling Amazon in Europe, it depends where you're based, but the most important question about selling in Europe is where you hold your stock. Let's say if you're based in, for example, Sweden, you can hold your stock in Sweden, and you can fulfill orders from Sweden to the whole European Union. For that thing, you will need one VAT in Sweden and the so-called OSS registration, which allows you to hold stock in one location and fulfill orders to B2C clients across the whole European Union. But of course, I'm gonna type my email, get in touch with me after the webinar, and we're gonna arrange a consultation to discuss that in more details. And like I said, I'm gonna connect you to the other partners who can help with the USA. Okay. Okay, let me just start. Okay, another question for Gordy. Serping, how much money do I need to start? Obviously, I mean, Zonguru, for example, which is one of our partners, they have a tool which allows you to do the product research and to see exactly how much is the valuation for the expansion there. So you can do that with them. Let me go ahead and move to the other questions. We have a few other questions from people who are not attending. The first one is from Emma Martinez. What are the silent profit keywords within every Amazon business? I think that's for you, Chelsea.
Yeah, so we talked about overstocking and stocking out. Overstocking, I mean, people say, you know, stocking out, everyone knows that that's a problem. Overstocking, like we talked about, and storage fees is a silent profit killer. Some of the other things that we're diving deep into that we've built some products, some tools around, and there's a tool that's going to be coming out very soon, is fulfillment fees. Fulfillment fees are getting more and more expensive. They changed the tier structure for fulfillment fees. If you could lower your fulfillment fees, you would make more money on every single product. But not just that. When you reduce the size of your product, you reduce the fulfillment fees, you reduce the storage fees, and you also can increase the number of units per carton. If you're paying a third-party logistics company, a warehouse, to handle your inventory, every time they stick a label on your carton to send it to Amazon, they're going to charge you for it. So if you can put more units per carton because you've made that product smaller, you can reduce the number of cartons. And then we have a tool that helps you with carton optimization and pallet optimization. So if you're sending in pallets, you want to make sure to get as many units as possible on those pallets. If you don't have the right shape of carton, you're not going to be able to do that. So using some of these tools, you'll be able to reduce your fees all across your entire supply chain. I have a friend who sold sunglasses, and he had a hard case for the sunglasses. He went to a soft case, and it completely changed his business. All of those fees, the shipping fees, the handling fees, all the fees reduced across the entire business. And he, for that one product, was able to cut his cost and save $70,000 on one product. So those are the silent profit killers. Those are the things that your competitors are not currently looking at. So if you want to regain money for more products, more marketing, start diving into these pieces of your business that seriously, not a lot of people are talking about this. A tool does not exist for this. That's why we're building it. So these are some of the really important things. And when you're sourcing, start thinking about that. How small can I get my product? And you know, what fulfillment tier do I fall into? Can I shave off a little bit on this side to qualify for a lower tier? Can I reduce the weight by a quarter of an inch? These things can mean the difference between your product being profitable or not. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question.
Thanks, Chelsea. We have a few more questions. Some of them are actually for Yulia. So the first one is, should I start looking at the hybrid supply chain? To be honest, I have no idea what this means, but probably Chelsea, you know.
Mm-hmm. A hybrid supply chain? I mean, I'm not a sourcing expert. I know the meaning of a hybrid supply chain is just having multiple different people and companies who can produce the same product for you. So
I see. Yeah, so I mean, I think I can answer that, even though I'm not an active e-commerce business owner anymore. We used to have multiple suppliers doing the same product as a backup. because sometimes people promise all kind of stuff. Sometimes they don't fulfill what they promise. So it's good to have a backup in case of emergency. And we had one in China, one in Europe, one in the UK, one in the USA. So that's what she means. And I think, of course, like for anything else, don't put all your eggs in one basket. So always have a backup, even if it's more expensive, because if you don't make any sales, you make zero profit. Zero revenue. So you need to have a backup for that. Another question is from Laura Chen: how to find manufacturers outside of China? I think Yulia mentioned that earlier. There is multiple platforms. We're gonna share the recording so you can rewatch that, but she mentioned some of them, and we're gonna share her information. You can get in touch with her after the webinar. Question from Bridget Mansour: how do you understand fulfillment tiers better? I think that's for you, Chelsea.
Yeah, so we have actually something that we've written up on it on our website, and I can send the link. I don't think that I am able to post a link in here. I can send it to the hosts and panelists, and maybe you can share it. That lays out all the current, all the current 2023 fees, what each one of them are, and if you scroll down to the fulfillment fee section, it'll give you every single fee.
Okay, thanks, Chelsea. I just posted that in the chat, so we'll be able to copy and see that as well. Let me see, we have a few more questions. Michael Singh: what information should I use to negotiate the prices? Yulia mentioned that, but like I think she mentioned earlier, you need to negotiate with multiple suppliers, and you try to find the best solution, ask for samples. So she mentioned that, so you would be able to watch the recording and actually see that. So I think we have only one more question and we're done. Okay, Daniel Lee: what's going on in the e-commerce market when it comes to the economy? Are sales going to decrease overall? That's a question for you and me. I think Chelsea can answer, and then I'm gonna fill in, and I think we can actually wrap up the webinar.
Yeah, definitely slowing down from the way they were in 2020 and 2021, but there's still decent growth. It's definitely much slower, but there's still decent growth. Look at the US. You probably could speak more to the European market though.
Yeah, exactly. It's normal when people are spending less. There's like layoffs in a lot of big companies. So when there's a recession or like a slowdown, people are buying less products, which is normal. That's why, you should consider expanding to markets where are not underdeveloped, but where the competition is not that big. Because the USA has a population, I think 350 million, if I'm not mistaken. Europe has 450 million over 18. And people are not buying as much on Amazon as they are in the States, and many of our competitors are not selling here. So the only thing which is stopping a lot of people, they're just scared because it's a whole continent with multiple countries. But this is the good news. Like I said, it's not that complicated. And just to give you one tip, if you guys are succeeding in the States, you already have done the hardest part. Europe, it's much easier, if you follow the blockers, if you use the tips that we shared, and if you get in touch with us. But like I said, if you're succeeding in the States, then the only thing which is holding you back is yourself. And I think we can wrap up the webinar with that. It was the longest webinar ever, 2 hours and 15 minutes. This was the Amazon All-Star Series 2, the Women of Amazon, the Superstars of Amazon, and they were really. And it was just me and Chelsea then, but eventually we had everybody here. We had to mix sessions, but it was very genuine and good. I hope that you enjoyed the content. We're gonna send the recording, and thank you everybody for staying with us for the full 2 hours, and enjoy the evening, the day, or whatever place on earth are you. And thank you everybody. Thank you, Chelsea, for staying with me